My name is Brian Sampson. We're located on a farm 3 miles south of Roland. And I started farming right out of high school with my dad in 1978. I know I don't look like it, but I'm 67 years old. I've been farming on my own since 93 when my dad passed away. 1,500 acres of row crop, about 1,500 cattle per year. My parents farmed, my grandparents before me. So third, fourth, how many generations? It's probably been 15 years ago, 10 at least. I lose track a little bit, that I started using cover crops. And the first thing that I wanted to do was kind of double crop for some feed advantages for my cattle operation. And the first year that I did it, it worked great. I flew it on in the first part of September, flew it over a corn crop. That next spring, I was waiting for it to, right before head, to cut it and then bale it up. And it started to rain. And it rained for probably 2 weeks. And we had all kinds of problems. So what my initial plan was shot. So it was not a good thing. I didn't get good feed. I didn't get a good crop afterwards. So what does a farmer do when he makes a bad decision? He changes. And I didn't do it again for a while. The initial thing that happens to you is when you first pull into a field with your planter, like you look across the road there and you see my cover crop, it's all green. That is a scary feeling to a farmer that's used to seeing black soil. That's the biggest thing, is the change and then being comfortable with that change. I've mostly done oats, but mainly it's been cereal rye. Flown on in the late summer, end of August, 1st September, and fly it on with an airplane. So and then you wait and you hope for some moisture after that. And I gotta tell you, before I started, I'm a tillage guy. I love tillage. I thought that was the most predictable thing you could do. It was the most, I had confidence in tillage. And now I hope I never have to rip or plow or do anything ever again. I hope I never do. The biggest mistake or the biggest challenge, and it isn't a mistake with the cover crops as much as a timing thing. You're at the mercy of Mother Nature and the weather. You know, sometimes it gets really dry in the fall and then it turned dry. You know, the weather, it was way wet, and then it turned dry, and it gave me a cushion for my bean head. I mean, in the long term, it turned out to be okay. It isn't the reality sometimes that's the awful part. It's what you think it might be. And you just got to get past that. If I'm following corn going into soybeans, the factors about termination, I want the cover crop to grow ahead of soybeans as long as possible. But then there comes a time I don't want the cereal rye to head out. Although you could. I mean, you can let it head out, and I've done that too, but I don't see the benefit. I think there's a sweet spot there of termination, and I think it's before you plant, and it's right before the cereal rye heads out. I was planting, and it was planting season, obviously, and I was in my field, and I had a neighbor to the south in his field, and a neighbor to the north. Planting, and we were going back and forth similar times, and I had no dust around me, zero dust. I'm planting in my terminated cover crop, green dying cover crop, and not a dust. And my neighbors, you couldn't see their tractors, the dust. It takes about till August before my field starts to look good. And then come August and September, my crops are still growing because of the added moisture that's there. And theirs are kind of coming back a little bit. What would have I liked to known before I ever did it? And what advice would I give? Patience is probably the best advice. When you make the decision to fly it on in the fall, all you're doing is spending money. You spend money and you're really not having to make any other decision than that. But then come spring, or then that fall, if you were used to doing tillage, okay, now you're not doing something. And all you remember is your dad telling you how lazy you were for not wanting to do something, and you're not doing something that you've always done. And now I drive into there and I think, I know I've got and I'm pointing to my cover crop that's green out there, that's the whole surface is covered. But I know right underneath that, I got a perfect seed bed that I know is there. I can't see it, but I know it's there. And you just got to do it.